Hi, Dr. Colleen here. Were you with me a minute ago? I just made a live video like 5 minutes ago, and as I was uploading it, I got an error message that it failed to upload. So here I am again. Thank you if you're rewatching this. I have been asked this question many times over the years when people are finally getting serious about making some healthy lifestyle improvements, specifically when it comes to nutrition or diet. Where do I start? How do I start helping my family eat better without them losing their minds and resisting the whole thing? It's not easy, right? But it's important. It's very important. So this is where I always begin. And I know everyone's coming to this issue from different places, from different levels of health already. So some of us are still in that stage where we're not cooking at home. Every meal is on the go. It's through a fast food window, or we're buying our food at the grocery store, or at the gas station, just on the go. Others are already into every meal is prepared at home and food is grown at home. So we've got everything. On my page here, I've got people with all sorts of backgrounds and experience. So I'm just talking to the average bear right now. One of the easiest ways to help introduce healthier changes is to focus on adding the good first before we start to come at it from, you can't do this anymore, you got to stop with that, we have to take away this. Add health before we start to focus on subtracting the less than healthy, the toxic choices. It's for those who are going to be on the receiving end of your desire to make healthy changes, it's going to be much easier on them. If you're let's just add some good things to this meal, to this week. So that could look like, if your average dinner doesn't normally have a whole lot of fresh foods, add some fresh foods, add a salad, add some fresh veggies, add a glass of water to any meal or any time during the day. Just add more water. That's a healthy upgrade as well. Breakfast is a hard one for a lot of families because for whatever reason we've been brainwashed into thinking that breakfast is supposed to look like any combination of cereal, pastries, toast, bagels, muffins. I guess some of those are pastries, pancakes, waffles, all these high sugar, high carb, high insulin spiking foods that are just garbage for our health. Especially if they're made with conventional GMO grains. So instead of saying we can't have any of that anymore, we are done, we're never eating that again, add some good things to it. Add some fresh eggs, add some clean sources of meat, even adding some fresh fruit, even though that's higher in sugar, that's going to help as well. Looks like I might have a visitor coming on the lake here. So adding instead of just focusing on subtracting is it's a good strategy for long-term success. Then you can also start to think of things like upgrading to better sources, whether it's your fats and oils, getting into some cleaner sources of fats and oils, upgrading your meats, upgrading your eggs, upgrading to organic, non-GMO vegetables and fruit. Those are all things that will make a big difference over time. You can make substitutions and lateral shifts where maybe family and significant others hopefully one significant other, don't really notice so much that you've made an important change because, okay, I'm still eating I'm still eating pizza, but now I'm eating a cauliflower crust pizza, or maybe not quite that drastic, or it's organic flour. Or you're putting your own fresh toppings on there instead, right? So substitutions and lateral shifts like that, where it's not that much of a sweeping change, but it's a good improvement. So those are some easy things to do as well. But we can upgrade things, we can substitute, we can make lateral shifts, and then you start to talk about, okay, there are some things we need to reduce. So some of those things that I said earlier, like your traditional breakfast foods, and they come at other times of the day too, those really high sugar, high carb foods that wreak havoc on our health over time. We need to start to reduce those, and that can happen when you're crowding them out. Think of crowding them off your plate with other healthy foods. So fresh vegetables, clean sources of protein, clean and healthy fats. Those foods can crowd out those high sugar carb foods that rob us of our health. So that's reducing. And we never say never. I don't believe that you need to say never. I believe we need to be more responsible. I also don't agree with all good things in moderation, because I think we've lost our minds when it comes to what's moderation and what are good things. Some things are just too toxic to really bother with adding that frequently, but you get to decide that for yourself. If I like to focus on even bigger than a day at a time, I tell people to take a look at any given week. Are most of your meals consisting of real food, whole food, least toxic foods that you can get your hands on, that aren't completely laden with GMOs and all sorts of poisons? If you're just doing your best to have real whole foods in most of your meals, in most of your beverages, then you're doing a good job, right? On occasion, if it's less than healthy, at least you're building a healthier foundation for your body to be able to tolerate that. But I encourage you to just, as you're reducing, think of things like, okay, if every breakfast in our family used to consist of all those sugary foods that I mentioned, maybe we move to, there's a day or two a week where they get to choose some foods like that or have a breakfast like that again, instead of thinking of eliminating it altogether. Or maybe 4 nights of the week right now are $5 pizza nights. Maybe you have 1 or 2 pizza nights a week and serve that with a salad, right? That's a good upgrade that you can make. So you're reducing and you're upgrading at the same time. So there's lots of little tips and tricks like that, just to crowd out the bad as you're adding the good. And as far as elimination is concerned, I said we never say never. One exception to that is if you know that there are food intolerances or sensitivities. I'm not talking allergies, that's kind of an obvious one, but sensitivities and intolerances are much harder to identify. We work a lot with those in our practice. Once you've identified that they're there, I absolutely recommend that the big ones, and some of them show up hot and heavy on a test and others are a little more mild. You take those big ones, those strong food intolerances and sensitivities, and those really should be eliminated at least for a period of time until you do some gut work. That's a subject for a different day. And if you have questions about that, feel free to message me. But other than that, never say never. Build the good. Again, take a look at a week at a time. Are most of your meals and snacks, if you're still snacking, are most of them comprised of real food, as healthy as possible? Are you drinking enough water? Those types of things. And then just you start to minimize, reduce some of the less than healthy choices over time. But focus on adding the good. Everyone's happier when you add the good. And one of the side effects of that, a positive side effect, is that you tend to lose those cravings for the bad, for the more toxic foods. If your body gets accustomed to fresh foods, healthy fats, clean meats, just clean sources of food, you start to crave a lot of the junk food significantly less. So there's that. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave any comments. If you've tried some things successfully as far as substituting some things, upgrading some things, or even reducing and eliminating some things, let me know, let everyone else know how you did it, what your strategy was, or if you just went cold turkey into some of these decisions as well. All right. As always, that's what my Healthy School Days menu and nutrition guide is full of, a lot of these types of ideas. And when you get that, I also include my top 20 nutrition tips, my Bullseye Daily Food Guide, and my recipes and resources, because this all ties together. There's so many different tips and strategies that can really help families make healthier choices over time. So I'll put the link for that below as well. In the meantime, share this with anyone who's trying to get healthier. Leave me any comments or questions, and I'll see you next time.